Hi, Orod.
Uh, Hello, Soma. Good morning. Good
Good
morning, everyone.
good morning, everyone. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you? How's everything in Sydney?
Well, Sydney is good. The weather is back to normal, not raining. What about in Melbourne? Is it raining? Was it raining? Was
No, it's a very beautiful day today, actually.
that's really
And tomorrow it's Melbourne Cup, so it's public holiday, very quiet. Everyone took 2 days off as well, and the city is very, very quiet.
that's nice. Well, everyone deserves a holiday, I guess.
Absolutely.
Well, okay, let's get to it. So I believe that you are going to tell me if you have heard anything new or anything interesting about Kanban lately.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Today I actually have a really interesting, juicy topic that I think a lot of people like to hear about it.
Hmm?
So, as you know, it's quite common that when someone in a team is working on a task or a user story or whatever,
Mm,
this piece of work blocked for any reason.
mm,
So people keep asking questions, and it's a really hot topic. How to visualize it? Do we need to have a separate column to visualize the work that blocked, or how we basically should visualize it?
mm.
So, what do you think, Soma? How do you think we should visualize the blocked work?
That's a really, really good question. And also it's a very popular topic because so in my opinion, you
Mm-hmm,
should have a separate column for blocked. So there are
mm-hmm,
different ways of visualizing, but not a separate column. That's a no-no. And I will just take a step back and explain that why I said no for that. So whenever we have columns in our board, in Kanban boards,
mm-hmm,
these are not just normal columns. These are different work stages that work will pass through. So
mm-hmm,
if you are putting a block column, if you're adding a block column in your Kanban board, that also sets the expectation that, blocked is a stage, work stage in the
mm-hmm,
work,
mm-hmm,
which is just not true.
mm-hmm.
So if you are adding that column and naming it as blocked or whatever, like I don't know, like so I have seen some people call it something else as well, like impediment or something, whatever.
Yeah.
Just doesn't make sense. And it
Mm-hmm,
also doesn't help you to improve the system and understand the system in its true essence. So that would be a no when you're
mm-hmm.
visualizing. So there are different ways of visualizing. And one of the most common and the most effective one would be keep the card where they are so that you can actually start
Okay.
understanding.
So before we talk about what will be the best practice, just to make sure everyone clear.
Yeah.
So we back to the definition of workflow, and workflow is how work or which stages the work needs to go through to from beginning until end,
Mm,
and blocked or impediment is not a stage on the workflow.
mm,
So
correct.
the work can be blocked on any stage on the workflow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. All right. So now, what do
Mm.
you think will be the best way to visualize this blocked work?
Well, the blocked work should be where it is getting blocked. Like for
Mm-hmm.
example, let's say in your work, you're part of a team and your work passes through discovery, analysis, and then development, test, build, done.
Yeah.
So, and your work is blocked in analysis because you don't have
Mm-hmm.
people or you don't have the information. So your work should remain in that column, and there should be a way to visualize it, like change the color, like in digital tools. You have
Yeah.
different ways of doing that.
Yeah.
Changing color is one of the most popular one, and you start calculating the aging. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things that's really important because Kanban, when we are creating a pull system, that means that we have WIP limit on the columns. So
Yeah.
many people will have the questions that, okay, if our work is blocked,
Mm-hmm.
does that fall under the WIP limit or we can just disrespect it and pull more work? So there are two
Yeah.
scenarios in that, and let's talk about the two scenarios too, so that everyone is on the same page. So first scenario is that your work is blocked, and the blocked work can be actually unblocked by the team, or it is with your influence. Or the people who can actually help you unblock, they are, in your neighboring team within the same organization. All you have to do is that go communicate with them and figure out how you can make it their priority at the same time and unblock it. So in that case, you should respect the WIP limit of the column so that you are not trying to get more work into the column, just disregard that blocked item, because in that way you would never have any ideas how to improve the system.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
basically what you're saying is when the work is blocked,
Mhm.
the highest priority is to unblock this work.
That's right. That's right. Because otherwise, it causes delay. And we
Yes.
all are trying to make our system as predictable as possible. So that also includes how can we understand the different delays that causes the work to, get delivered at a later stage. So yes, that's one of the scenario. The other scenario would be if your work is blocked and the only people that can help you to unblock is like outside your organization and beyond your power or influence. So in that scenario, you can disregard that WIP limit because you cannot do anything, but at the same time, you have other things to look at or other priorities. So this shouldn't be a regular practice, though. This should be something more like an exception that, okay, we have only out of like 100, we have one or two things that's like beyond our influence. This is done by a third-party organization or vendor organization. So yes, in that case, you can disrespect the WIP limit for that time and then work on the other things. But at the same time, please mention it on the card in the digital tool that when it was blocked, how much time, what's the breach of SLA that's happening for that work, and when did you unblock it, what are the things that you had to do. So all the information should be there. So in simple words, there are two scenarios, but it is not having to visualize that blocked work anywhere else, but in that respective column. And it's all about respecting the WIP limit, or when can you disrespect the WIP limit, and that should be just exceptional scenarios. So
yes, so if you are blocked by an external team that you can't really influence them because they have other priority and stuff like that, then we can pull another work because this work probably will be blocked for a very long time and we can't do anything about it. All right, so good. So far we said having a separate column, it's not the right way to do it because blocked is not a stage on the workflow. It's the status of the work, and work can be blocked on any stage. So leave the work on the stage that it's blocked and try to unblock it as a priority. So if we have a lot of work blocked by other team or for whatever reason it's blocked, so what do we learn when we have lots of blocked work? What does that mean? What can we do to reduce the amount of blocked work?
Well, there could be multiple scenarios in that case. One is that you are too dependent on other team, right? Like there's a lot of dependency going on. So the first thing that we should always look at that how can we simplify the system? In some cases, there is no way that you can do that. But in those cases, having the right metric and the data is really important because that's what you can float it up to the exec level or management level to help get them understand that, okay, how much delay that's causing in the delivery. So there are a few things, right? Like, and why the work is getting blocked. Because sometimes I have seen in teams that it's a prod defect and it's not the priority. So it's not a critical one. It's just a defect that comes through your system that follows the same workflow, and it's just sitting there. It's blocked because no one has the capacity to look at it, and it is not one of the priorities. So it is a different kind of thing. So
So sorry to interrupt, but if it's not the priority, then we don't need to pull it, and then consequently it won't be blocked, right? So
Well,
normally the work blocked when we pull, when we commit to do it, and then we at the middle of the work we realize that, oh, something is missing and I can't continue. We need to unblock it. So
uh,
one thing that indicates
mhm,
when we have a lot of blocked work after commitment
mhm,
is that we don't have an effective upstream. So we probably need to do a better analysis, triage, or design the work, make sure the work is ready before we pull it.
mhm.
Because it's quite common that people commit very early. So as
Yeah.
soon as something raised, we commit to do it, and then in the middle of that, we realize that, oh, this requirement is missing, or the environment is not ready, or we don't know how to do it, and stuff like that, and then the work blocked. So
Mm,
if you see a lot of blocked after commitment point, that means you don't have an impactful and effective upstream work, and you need to spend a little bit more time before commit the work.
yeah, that's one of the.
Another thing that you mentioned is dependency, right?
Yes.
So, for example, again, very common that you have a release team.
Mm,
So you develop the work, and another team needs to release it. So you blocked by that team.
mm,
Again, if it continuously happen and you can't have CI/CD, and you can't automate the release and deployment and stuff like that,
mm,
what you need to do is to make sure that you deliver the work when the release team, or whatever the team is, for in this scenario
mm,
release team expect, because release team, they need maybe 2 days to release the work, right?
mm,
So
mm,
you need to make sure that you deliver the work 2 days before you expect the work will be released, so the release team has enough time to deploy the work, and you won't be surprised, basically.
mm. Well, these are two scenarios, but there could be other ones as well. For
Mm-hmm.
example, SMEs, someone who is a subject matter expert, and that
Mm-hmm.
person do not sit within your team.
Mm-hmm.
So for something, you might have to wait for them to free up the capacity. So that person is basically a bottleneck in the system, and
Sure.
they are part of your team, and you are waiting on them to help you to solve a problem. So
Yeah.
work will be blocked in those scenarios as well. But whatever it is also telling us a lot that the downstream is also not designed effectively. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you have different skill set, and if you have a lot of SMEs sitting in different teams where they are working on the same piece of work, that could create those, like the bottleneck situation again and again, because the capacity of that person might not be aligned when the priority of this work is coming into someone else's system. So
Mm-hmm.
this could be another thing that people need to be more mindful of when they are trying to understand that how a delivery system needs to be designed. So,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
All right, now good one. Oh, okay. So far we talk about two things. One, how to visualize the blocked work,
Yeah.
and we said that blocked is not a stage in the workflow. So leave the work where it's blocked, try to unblock it, and
Mm,
try to track how long the work been blocked,
yeah.
and see what you can do to reduce these waiting time. And we talk about, if you have a lot of work blocked, then it's either you need to have better analysis and upstream, or
Yes.
you need to make sure to deliver the work when the other team expect it. So reduce the amount of time
Yeah.
that you waiting for the other team to unblock you. All right. Is there anything else, Soma, you want to add?
No, I think that sums up pretty well what we spoke about today.
Lovely. This is a very, very common topic that almost every person that I talk to ask this question, and people come with different solution,
Mm,
but having a separate column doesn't really help you. So let's very quickly talk a little bit about what will happen if we have a separate column. So
mm,
I think you earlier mentioned that if you have a separate column, then people pull another work,
mm,
and the blocked item de-escalate it, right? So we basically deprioritize it.
Yes, yes.
So that's one of the disadvantage. What
Mhm.
other disadvantage might have if we have a blocked column?
So when we think about visualization, the visualization actually sends signals to our brain cells, how we receive those information. The moment we see there is a separate blocked column, it actually normalizes that. So it's going back to the, like the neuroscience, the human psychology. So if it is there, if I'm keeping my work in blocked column, it's kind of normal, right? Like, because there is a place to hold that. So I don't have to think about it right now. I can just keep starting different work and it's okay. So
Yeah.
in that way, it is actually going to make, like, you are never going to think about how can you improve when the work is getting delivered. But just think of all the constraints and the practices that we have, right? You are respecting the WIP limit. That's the first one. That means what? That your first priority will be to unblock that work so that you can get it to done and then pull the other important work that's in your queue. So in that way, your first thinking process would be that, okay, what should I do to get it unblocked and move it from my queue?
That's
So
right.
that will help improvement. And that's what we want from all these practices, is that people should always think of creative and innovative way to, make their work better.
That's
So
right.
that would be,
So one thing, as you mentioned, is when we put it in a separate column, then we don't care. It's not my problem. I'll start
yeah,
something else. Someone else needs to do it. And then it basically, this block column become a dumping station. Oh, I don't know what to do. Throw over the fence, throw it into that
yeah,
column and start something else. So that's one of the disadvantage. Another thing is, as you mentioned, Soma, when the work blocked, we want to track how long it's been blocked.
that's true.
If we put it in block column, then
Mhm.
yes, we can track how long it's been blocked, but we don't know it's blocked in which stage of
That's
the workflow, right?
yeah.
So has it blocked in development, or has it blocked in test, or it's blocked in deployment, or blocked in analysis, where it's actually blocked? Because what we need to track is how long it's been blocked in that stage. So we
Stage.
understand, all right, this is a problem in upstream, this is a problem in downstream. What is the problem?
Yes.
Another problem it can cause is when you unblock it, then you don't know where
To
this
put
work
it.
needs to
Yeah.
go back. Do we
Yeah.
need to put it back to analysis or development, where it needs to go to? All right, so I think we talk about quite a lot of things. We look at the blocked items from different angles, and we talk about benefits and disadvantage of how to visualize it and having a block column and stuff like that. Do you want to add anything else, Soma? I think we covered pretty much.
Yeah, but we have learned a lot of things as well. So if anyone is listening to this episode as their first episode, they can still learn what workflow means in Kanban sense. So that's amazing.
Absolutely.
So you,
All right.
well,
Thanks, Soma, and thanks everyone for watching and listening us.
yeah.
Please subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything. And what else? And we come back
Well,
next week.
yes, we will come back next week. And thank you everyone for giving us all the support and also sending us all the different, questions that we pick up from our conversations with different people. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. Let us know how you visualize your blocked item. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. See you next week.